Are you connected to Jesus? I mean, really plugged in? How can you tell? Well, Jesus said, "Stick with me." Good morning and welcome to 755 Live. For about 5 minutes, you'll hear all about easy to remember soundbite versions of what Jesus said. And the point is to help you experience life to the fullest the Jesus way. Today's Jesus said comes from John 15, verse 4. But let's read a little bit more of that chapter for some context. And just by the way, you can find a different command of Jesus at our weekday Bible plan at bible.today.church, a different command every weekday. John 15, beginning in verse 1, "I am the true grapevine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch of mine that doesn't produce fruit, and he prunes the branches that do bear fruit, so they will produce even more. You have already been pruned and purified by the message I have given you. Remain in me, and I will remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me." And verse 5, the main verse here, "Yes, I am the vine, you are the branches. Those who remain in me and I in them will produce much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. Anyone who does not remain in me is thrown away like a useless branch and withers. Such branches are gathered into a pile to be burned. But if you remain in me, and my words remain in you, you may ask anything you want, and it will be granted. When you produce much fruit, you are my true disciples. This brings great glory to my Father." Now, this is after what we call the Last Supper. This is some of the last teaching that Jesus gave before the crucifixion. And this soundbite version of this, "Stick with me," really brings to mind the concept that if there is no fruit in your life, there is really no connection with Jesus. Jesus clearly stated that he alone is the vine, the source for those who believe in him. We are attached to him, the vine, by faith, not because we do anything, but it is also for a purpose, and that purpose is to bear fruit. And what happens if we don't? Well, the Father cuts us off. Now, did you get that? Bearing fruit isn't optional. It's a direct result of being connected with Jesus. No fruit, no connection. But if you are connected, you will bear fruit. So the question is, are you connected? You know, if you've ever grabbed hold of an extension cord that has some wires exposed, you've felt the power of 120 volts of electricity. I've never seen anyone come in contact with 120 volts without having an immediate and noticeable reaction. And can you just consider for a minute that we are connected to Jesus, the true vine, connected to the very power that created the universe, that raised Christ from the dead? How can we be plugged into that kind of power and there be no change? You can't. But sometimes we have this crazy idea that we can be connected to Jesus and not bear different fruit and not bear the kind of fruit that he said we should bear. But he said, if you remain in me and my words remain in you, then when you produce much fruit, you are my true disciples. This brings great glory to my Father. So where's the fruit? What does that fruit look like when you stick with Jesus? Well, that fruit is Jesus' very words. When we obey what he says, Jesus produces the fruit in our lives. And disciples bearing fruit make disciples that bear fruit. Disciples bear spiritual fruit. Galatians 5, the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. That's the kind of fruit a true disciple bears. And that kind of fruit multiplies. And that's how disciples make disciples that make disciples. If you stick with Jesus as a true disciple, you will stick with love. Jesus said, "Stick with me." How can you put that into action today. Thank you so much for listening. If this is meaningful to you, it really does mean a lot if you like it, share it, and comment. I appreciate you. I hope that you have an amazing day. And I hope this time together has helped you live life to the fullest, the Jesus way. And remember, follow Jesus today. Love first.